What's happening, everybody? It's your old pal Mr. Butter coming back at you. It is starting to get cold out here. Darn it. Holy guacamole. Apologies for the language. I got a pair of women's exclusive dunk highs that I want to get into tonight. I actually got this pair on the sneakers app. However, they're just kind of sitting, and like other shoes that don't sell out immediately on the sneakers app, you can now get this pair in select sizes on the Nike app. I actually really like the look of this shoe. It reminds me of the Pure Platinum Dunk Highs, which might be my most worn dunk high just because of the simplicity of it, and it's got that retro style. I like the materials, and it just goes with everything. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's look at these women's exclusive dunk highs in Summit White. Nothing to even say about this. The tag reads Women's Dunk High Up. And on GOAT and some other sites, I saw that they're referring to these as the Dunk High Rebels. So I don't know if that's a variation from like the EU to the US, but some people call them the Dunk High Rebels. On the sneakers app and on the Nike app, it just calls them the Dunk High Up. The colors are Summit White, Sail, and Black, and the suggested retail price is $120 US. This is a size 9.5 in women's, so that would equal a size 8 in men's, I believe. I've always been a fan of a all-white shoe. I like these. I think these look really, really nice. And like I said in the intro, the Pure Platinum dunk highs are probably my most worn dunk highs in my collection. And I like the leather on them. I just like how simple they are, but they still have that classic vibe. And I think these go along with that, but they also have a little bit more of a modern twist on this pair. You may notice little hits of sail, like the threading over top of the swoosh, and then some of these panels underneath the overlays sticking out, and I think that's just a nice little contrast. And then, like it said on the tag, it does have black on it, and the only black on the shoe is the Nike tag there at the top of the tongue. I'm really pleased with the materials that they gave on these. It's actually pretty nice leather. What I'm not pleased with is a lot of these little booger areas where it looks like the person putting them together was just scratching their rear end or something, you know? Or down here on the mudguard, I don't know how evident that is, but there's just a lot of like dirty looking smudges where it looks like whoever was gluing them together just got their dirty fingers all over them. So I'm not too keen on that, but I'd imagine that'll wipe off, maybe with like a mild alcohol solution or something like that. But you really shouldn't have to do that with $100 pair of shoes, really with any shoes. If there's any type of quality control, you shouldn't have to go back and clean up the mess left from when they got put together, you know? Maybe I'm being picky. I don't know. I just don't like getting new shoes, especially all white shoes like this that have like smudges all over them. That's not a good feeling. And like even on the back, I can see traces of like fingerprints. Like it just looks like they had boogers on their finger and they like try to wipe them off on the shoes. So thanks, that's cool, Nike. I appreciate that. But enough of my belly aching. We've got, this isn't the normal Dunk outsole. This is different looking. I would have to see one right beside it, but I can tell just by looking at it, this looks kind of like chunkier It just doesn't have the same tread pattern at all. I didn't even think to grab another pair of Dunks, but if you're familiar with Dunks, you recognize what I'm saying. This isn't your standard Dunk outsole tread pattern, but it kind of reminds you of a Dunk tread pattern. And you can see in the middle it's all bright white, but along these edges is a sail color. And I think that little contrast is nice. And then also, when you look at them from the side, you can see there at the very base, there's a sail color, and then that meets a bright white midsole. But we've got a bright white midsole wrapping around the whole shoe, and one thing that's different about this is there's no stitching. So that's kind of neat. And then another thing that kind of just gives it a more modern feel, in my opinion, is that on top of the regular midsole, you've got this extra piece sitting on the top. It almost just feels like it's some sort of like dense foam or something, but it's a bright white color, and I think that just changes up the look a little bit, gives you a different feel. I would probably prefer just the old school looking midsole. There's nothing wrong with this. I just prefer the more classic looking one. But then coming up from that midsole, we've got a bright white smooth leather on the mudguard, and it has a nice feel. It's really soft and it's pretty thick, and I like this material. I like it best without glue stains all over it. It's a nice feeling, pretty quality material, and the stitching is all white and it looks pretty neat going around there. And it looks like they gave us that smooth leather for the mudguard, the eye stays, and then wrapping around this back panel here. I always love looking at Dunks from the back. I like this threading that goes across the stitching, and I like how these two panels meet there in the middle. I think that's a classic look. But then on the toe box, it's not the same leather that we have on the mudguard. It's got more of a texture to it, and it almost has just the slightest cream color to it, just a very subtle hint of it. And what it reminds me of is like Form 84s, not the Orbit Grays, but the white ones. A lot of that material has different textures on it and just the slightest variation in color. And this leather actually reminds me of Form 84 leather, the good stuff, not the kind with recycled materials. It actually feels really soft and nice. But this is the same leather that you have on the toe box and then on the side panels, and I believe on the swoosh, and then at the base wrapping around the collar up here. That all just has a little bit more of that texture and just a hint of a cream color. But the tongue is a white nylon tongue, and it's got that white tag with black Nike stitching on it, and it's got white piping going around it, and we've got a white sock liner and a white insole. But let me know what you all think of these. I don't dislike them, but they're probably not my favorite. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.